the question that was raised to Ambassador Shannon yesterday in the Foreign Relations Committee that was that more directly addressed what it is that we understand the administration is considering was raised by Senator Rubio, and that is the allowing non-Iranian and non-U.S. banks to do trades in dollars for deals that involve Iran, as long as the dollars don't end up in the.
So my understanding is that is not what's under consideration at all.
What is it under consideration?
I'm not going to say, except to say that no. But I mean, like, no, Matt. Just to clarify, okay. Let me.
Because in fact, that is what we understand as being.
I understand that you believe that's what's being considered.
Well,
what I would say is that we continue to advise banks and other governments on ways that they can conduct business with Iran in a way that does not violate existing U.S. sanctions. And there are ways to do that, but it does not involve banks converting money to dollars or otherwise.
Well, it actually inherently does. So, but it does because as you know, the international commerce finance is structured in such a way that huge amounts of transactions from currency A to currency C go through currency B, which is the dollar. But anyway, so you're saying right now that you guys are out there. You guys are out there coaching. Advising. Okay,
but that's
coaching.
But
coaching banks and businesses how to do deals in such a way. Well, you say you're advising them how to do deals in such a way that you can avoid the U.S. sanctions.
Matt,
penalties for violating
what I would
US
say
sanctions.
in response,
is that really the role?
So what I would say in response is that as Iran complies with the JCPOA and receives a certain amount of sanctions relief, it is incumbent on us, and the Secretary spoke about this the other day, it is incumbent on us to live up to our end of this deal, which is and part of that is, is to advise these banks and governments on ways that they can
avoid U.S. sanctions.
That they can work.
Is that the role of the U.S.
within
government?
But it is
they can get around.
I don't necessarily the idea of coaching. I think it's simply our obligation as part of the JCPOA to advise them that they don't. I mean, these banks don't want to violate existing U.S. sanctions.
Right. So you're telling them how. Here's
but
how
they
you
are.
can do it
but they are.
No,
but they are. Sorry, but they are allowed to, under certain conditions, to do business with Iran. So it's we do consider an obligation on how to how to counsel them on that.
Right.
It's part of an effort to provide guidance to ensure that they understand clearly the extent of U.S. sanctions relief, and it's complicated. And to advise them on that is not necessarily giving some kind of tacit approval to, or somehow some workaround by which they can avoid, or loopholes, as you put it. I think that's just not what we're trying to do.
But you're telling them how they can do business with Iran without falling afoul of U.S. sanctions. Is that not correct?
It's advising them on how they can. I guess that they understand the extent of U.S. sanctions relief that's been provided under the deal, so that they can carry out appropriate actions, again, as stipulated under the JCPOA.
Financial Times yesterday described it as a roadshow. Are you approaching foreign banks and telling them this stuff, or do you wait until they say, "Hey, we're planning to do such and such a deal with Iran"?
I wouldn't refer to it as a roadshow. I think we're advising them as appropriate.
But you're proactively advising them, or you're responding to queries?
I don't know, David. I just don't know the extent of how proactive we are about it. I think we're trying to do it within what we feel is our obligations under the JCPOA.